everybody, and welcome to another grammar video. This video will be a bit longer than the rest because we're talking today about modal verbs. Modal verbs like can, may, could, must, should, mustn't. We use modal verbs in these situations when there's an obligation, when we need to prohibit something, when we need to show our ability, when we're trying to deduct something, give permission, give advice, and dealing with different possibilities for different situations, whether something is possible or not possible. Some basic characteristics of modals are, and this one is important, there is no past form, no ed, like with regular verbs, no ing for continuous forms, and there is no s for the third person singular. Modal verbs are written, typed in as this: must, should, can, could, and none of these are added. That is great news. Secondly, when you try to do questions using modals, you don't use do or does, like for the present simple, or did for the past simple, but we only invert the order and place the modal before the subject. May I come to your house for tea? May I come? Should I come? Can I come? Etc. And for the negative, the same. We don't use didn't for the negative. We just place an apostrophe T or not after the modal. Must, mustn't. You can also say must not. But we usually say mustn't, needn't, shouldn't, can't, couldn't, etc. Okay? There you go. Next is the modals of obligation. Basically, obligation is with must and with have to, or had to in the past. Had to is the past of must. This is the difference. Must is a personal obligation. You, from yourself. It starts with you. If you say I must stop smoking, it's because you have decided that. I must pray if I want to pass this test, you have decided. I must send this in my pathway results, you know you have to do that. And I must get up early tomorrow, the same. It's your obligation. But have to is used when the obligation is external, by person, another person, by rules, by the law. The difference between I have to stop smoking and I must stop smoking is probably I have to stop smoking is when another person or the doctor or your brother or your father tells you stop smoking, stop smoking. So you say I have to stop smoking. Whereas if you say I must stop smoking, it means that it's something that you decide. You impose that obligation on yourself. And the same for the rest of examples here. Muslims have to pray 5 times a day because the religion tells them to do so. BC says I have to do it, and because BC says it, that is why you use have to. Our flight leaves early. We have to get up early. Because there's a flight in the next morning, you have to get up early. So this flight leaving early, that is the obligation. But this one here, I must get up early tomorrow, you don't say why, so it's you decided, okay? We move on to no obligation. When there is no obligation, we don't use must or have to. We use don't have to because it's not necessary, because there is no obligation. We have 3 examples here. You don't have to come to class on Saturdays. There is no class on Saturdays, so you don't have to come. There's no obligation. She doesn't have to drive to work. She can go on foot. And they don't have to be here at exactly 7. They can be here any other time. So don't have to, doesn't have to. This is no obligation. With prohibition and permission, we use mustn't. When you want to prohibit something, to forbid someone from doing something, you use mustn't, which is equivalent to not allowed to. Okay? You mustn't smoke in here. They mustn't drive on the left. Students mustn't live without permission. These 3 sentences are the same as you are allowed to smoke here. They aren't allowed to drive on the left. Students aren't allowed to live without permission. It's the same. Okay? Mustn't and be allowed to. With advice, we use should. Should or shouldn't with the negative, which is basically had better to. So it's too far, you should take a shortcut. We should go and do some errands. You should watch TV in English. Notice how we use should and the verb with infinitive, like with all the other modals, the same. So these three sentences here are basically the same using the better, had better, had better. You can pause the video at any time to go through the sentences slowly and reading them again, okay? With deducting from different situations and different possibilities, we can use might, could, must, or can't. We have three sentences here. Which verb means it's impossible? This one, she can't be his wife. It's impossible that she is his wife. Can't expresses the idea of it's impossible. Which verb is possible? He might, could be American, South American. This is, it might, maybe. Okay, it's possible. And I'm sure it's true. They must be traveling around Europe because there is evidence that tells you so. So they must be traveling around Europe. But we have more examples here. Okay, let's read the examples. We have few sentences here. Let's take a look at these with must, with may and might. Remember, with must, you're almost sure of this, okay? They must be out because there is evidence. There aren't any lights on. She must have a lot of money because there is evidence she drives a Porsche. So must is for when you are sure. May and might is for when there is a possibility. Maybe yes, maybe no. So his phone's switch off. You calling a person and then no answer. So he might be on the plane. This is a possibility. She's not at home. She may be working. This is a possibility. She may be working or she may be somewhere else. Can't, remember? Can't is for impossible. When something is impossible. Okay? If you saw him at the gym today, it's impossible that he is ill. He can't be ill. And if you hear that they speak in Spanish, they can't be Italian. It's impossible that they are Italian. Okay? So when we're certain that something is true, we use must. When we're certain that something is impossible, we use can't. And when we're not sure, we use may not or might not. These are the basic, these are the rules. Okay? Carry on with an exercise. Okay? You are about to see some sentences and you need to fill in the blank with can't, must, may, might. So this one, for example. If you saw it on the news, it must be true. Okay? This one. If his car is outside his house, he can't be away. So it's impossible that he is away. Okay? She looks very young. She can't be more than 16. It's impossible that she is more than 16. You can always substitute can't for it's impossible. Okay? What music is this? I'm not sure. It may be Mozart or it might be Mozart. You say you're not sure, so it's a possibility. Okay? May if you are sure, might if you are less sure. Okay? They must have a lot of money because there's evidence their house is enormous. I can't be a size 44. I'm usually a 40 or a 42, so I can't. It's impossible that I am a 44. This is a situation maybe you are trying some trousers on. I'm not sure why she hasn't phoned me. She might not have my number, my new number, so it's a possibility. He can't be serious. He must be joking. You are almost sure that he must be joking, okay? And he's not fit enough, so he can't be a good footballer. He may like this book. He might like this book. You can also say he must like this book. He's interested in history because you are almost sure. He might not remember me. He hasn't seen me for ages. And the last one, if he retired 10 years ago, he must be over 70. Okay? There you go. You can repeat this exercise going backwards in the video. And the modals of ability, to show what you can do or you could do when you were younger. These are examples with can in the present. And for the past, we have different choice. You can use could for past ability, or were able to for an ability in the past at a specific moment, something that you could do at a specific moment. Like this one, I managed to play a really difficult piece. This is at a specific moment and a specific piece at the piano. Okay? Well, as usual, I encourage you to complete the exercises in Word document and then listen to the answer key with the PDF document. Bye!